How many of y'all remember that first track we did where we was like, good morning, Mr. Sun? We got flipping up, right? It's the remix, right? Yeah. First time ever performed for you guys.
Microphone check, 1, 2. Yeah. Yo, this is Omega Watts. My man Terracoza. Bring up to the FAS crew. Yo, we just collaborating, pushing this out.
How horrible it is to hear that loud alarm ring. For my own good, but still I sleep in. However, I set the clock ahead about 10 minutes. Now I got time to delete the dream image. Let the fantasy, now it's all real. A little bit disturbed by the thoughts my dream reveals. Needs to clean off the birthday suit. Someone stole hot water, so I'm like, another tussle. My sanity versus hustle, bustle. Rustle up, strength, B-I-B-L-E. Fill the teacup with the kettle, pouring for Othello. Fried that bacon, no egg. Grab the phone, it's Omega. Got that $15. Grab the car, let's go. Southern I-5, Portland studio. Rip the mic, infected flow. My enthusiasm shows. Well, of course I meant that. I know that, I'll do that. Let's keep it peace like Steve. Bodyguard on Spring. Othello hates toes. He calls them ingrown fingers. With the classic funky essence that has always gotta linger longer than necessary. Some people think it's funny, but my man here thinks it's scary. I have to steer the river of life, so I pulled out the paddle, left the land of the saddle, headed down to Seattle. I've had enough of prairie cattle, time for Puget Sound waves. P hooked me up, rock. I promise to behave. A slave, no an intern, accounts as a word turn. Hello world, it's my turn to live out my dream. Build with these brothers, dope, represent supreme being.
Yeah. Omega Watts up on the track like chilling in the back rhyme. Not the limelight. I like to keep up in the back and chill. Moving it like that and always follow God's will. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Yo, hey, how you doing? Sorry I can't get through to me, but if you leave your name, number, and a brief message, I'll be sure to get back to you shortly. Ring, alarm buzzing, morning time, sunshine. Feeling fine, shower fresh and lick up TK on the phone line. What's the hash for today? Showtime tonight at 8. Hit the North 5 Interstate. See you in 2. I'm on the way. Got to Plastics Place. Greetings to Josh and Jan later. Gotta grab Othello, hit club and pack. No time to slack. Scoop them up and hit the expressway. Trading rhymes and synergy. Positive vibes amid we combust and explode with energy. This was the first time we all linked and had a blast. Didn't crash mighty fast. Time passed, arriving at last. Logic rocked the spot and had the crowd raging for more. We hit the door, broke to chillin', didn't sleep till 4. Oh yes, the summer's madness went on long. 2 months later, I dropped my verse, Othello couldn't make the song. Sorry TK, sometimes that's just how it is. Tyson sends his regards, said give it all you gotta give. He's on a 2-month tour with my man John Vu. It's cool we combine fine as a duo, nickname us a 2. With the boom bap style beat and rhymes to match the outlook. So how we blaze fire in stationary matchbook. Silly funny, yeah, well that's just me. Enjoying your God loving hip hop, that's the way it should be. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon.
Heading towards light as we return to sender. Love is a logic no matter race or gender. Acting 29 or 13, crazy pretender. Faith alone saves the crown of thorns, please remember.
Shouts to the crown of thorns crew, buffoon circle represent. Neighborhood watch and look out, nomadic for president. We headed for light, thanking Christ for seeing another day. By grace we walk into tomorrow singing. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening, Mrs. Moon. Good morning, Mr. Sun, and good evening.